What is going on, folks? We are at it again. I woke up this morning. President Trump still on a rampage about being a convicted felon running for office. So let's check him out. He went on Fox and Friends. Let's get this going real quick. Boom. Little little music to set the mood. How's everybody's day going? I don't know if we're gonna drop this as a live or do a video. We probably gonna do both. We need to maximize this content, right? Absolutely. Absolutely. We need some music while we listen to this bullshit, right?
Here's what he had to say.
Where's your head at?
Well, look, I'm fighting for the Constitution. I'm fighting for the same thing that you three. I watch you all the time. And
what I'm trying to figure out is, and nobody can explain this, how is he fighting for the Constitution? This is a case involving him. This has nothing to do with rights of any kind, any amendments. This is about him using business money for campaign funds, illegal use of business funds.
Same thing that you do. You fight for freedom. You fight for your country. These people are sick. They're sick. They're deranged. I talk about the enemy on the.
When he say these people, he's really referring to Americans who happen to be Democrats. Americans are sick.
Outside and the enemy from within. So you have Russia, you have China. But if you have a smart president, you always handle him quite easily, actually. We have a lot of advantages. But the enemy from within, they are doing damage to this country. They want open borders. They want high interest rates. They now want to quadruple your taxes. Quadruple. All my life I watched politics, and it was always like politicians want to lower taxes, not quadruple them. There's a whole sickness going on right now. So we're doing really well. It was a tough venue. We tried to get out of the venue. We tried to get out of the judge, but we tried to get out of both. Wouldn't even think about it. So we had probably maybe the worst area in the whole country for me, in terms of vote.
But I thought he said he was going to win New York. How could it be the worst area? He said he was about to win. It's going to be a wave, a red wave again.
I'm sure if I sat down and explained it to that section of the world, we could probably make progress. But one of the worst sections, and they always bring them in these sections, D.C., there, places where Republicans, not just me, Republicans get like virtually no votes. But the good news is that I think we've set a record beyond all records for fundraising. That's like a poll. And another one just came out just before I got in that we're 6 points higher than we were before. So I don't know if that holds up. I'm just not sure, but people get it. It's a scam. And the Republican Party is really, they stick together in this. They see it's weaponization of the Justice Department, of the FBI. And, that's all coming out of Washington. You may think it's brag. Take a look at who opened the case. I'm not allowed to talk about it because I have a gag order. I'm probably, I guess, the first presidential nominee and the leading crooked Joe by a lot.
He's not really leading them by a lot. I think in most polls, 3 to 4, which is in the margin of error. But just listen to the babble he's talking about. Like, how can you really be down with this? Huh? How can you be down with this?
It's not allowed to talk. Maybe they're doing me a big favor. Who knows? But I'm not allowed to talk. I'm gagged. Nobody's ever heard of it. It's all coming out. It's weaponization, and it's a very dangerous thing. We've never had that in this country. They do have it in other countries, in South American countries.
He's gagged, but he's still talking about the case. That makes no sense. If you were gagged, that means you wouldn't be talking about it at all. That complexion with that connection, man. Like Paul Mooney, they got that complexion with that connection, man.
Countries, a little bit about it, right?
Well, that actually leads me to my question. I think for a lot of Americans, what's happened to you feels foreign. Like this has never happened here before.
Yeah.
But for Hispanic Americans, people coming from Latin America, this feels very familiar.
Yeah.
And in those countries, people are imprisoned. Instead of going to the ballot box and fighting there, they're on house arrest. They're told
Wait a minute. Did she just say Latin Americans feel the same way? You mean the illegal immigrants that Trump wants to deport those Latin Americans, or Latin Americans like you, young man? Come, do better, be better.
Well, they can't run for office. What is your message? And by the way, I think a lot of Hispanic Americans, I hear from them, they're scared about what they see. What's your message to them about what happened to you? And about how scared they are that our country is turning into the country's.
I've got to share this. You can get car insurance for as low as $22 per month just by using a
that they left behind, the corrupt, dysfunctional countries they left behind.
And they are scared, and they're great people, and very entrepreneurial, great energy. And as you know, I'm doing very well with them. I mean, beyond anybody, I don't think anybody's ever had polling.
Do you think this is why a little bit?
I think a little bit. And they've always liked me, and I've always liked them.
Are they talking about Latin people? The very Latin people that he wants to have a mass deportation when he gets in office? The irony.
You know, I've done well from the beginning. In 2016, I won the entire border along Texas, and they're all like 85%. And it's been great from the beginning, and now I'm leading. I think I'm leading over this guy that can't put two sentences together, that's destroying our country. Look, he's the worst president in the history of this country, and he's a danger to the country. And, you know, they have misinformation. Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. It's just words. He doesn't even know what it means. But it's like their slogan, I'm a threat to democracy. I'm the opposite. They're the threat to democracy.
Mr. President, I want to return to the verdict, and I want to explore something you said several times already in the conversation. You've referenced these people. I'm sure you've seen the video of Joe Biden when he was asked about the verdict, and he gave sort of a smirk to
Terrible. Remember, Bragg didn't want to do the case. He came out. He said, there's no case. And how?
Now, Trump is lying. There's been no evidence of Attorney Bragg saying that he didn't want to do the case. None. He can't pull it up. He's just literally pulling this out of his diaper. And for him to say that Joe Biden's working, I wouldn't.
How can you have a witness like so-and-so? I'm not allowed to mention the name. Can you believe this? This guy's allowed to have shows, television shows. I'm not allowed to mention the name. It's so unfair. But regardless, you know, you have to really play the hand that you're dealt. And then you had a jury that was, you know, from a certain persuasion. Would have been hard to do no matter what. But I did absolutely nothing wrong. I mean, absolutely. Think of it. You know, I hate when they say a bookkeeping, this and that. It's not. It's called, think of it, expense. I use the word expense. Legal expense. I pay a lawyer. He wasn't a fixer. He was a lawyer at the time. I pay a lawyer, and he's a lawyer. It's called legal expense. A bookkeeper, without ever speaking to me, because she did the right thing, who's been with me for years, marks it down as legal expense. In other words, I paid a legal expense. It's marked down as a legal expense. And they say that's a fraud. What am I going to call it? Did you ever see a ledger? Do you ever study accounting? The line's like about an inch long and an eighth of an inch wide. You can't write the story, but there is no story. If you pay a legal expense and you write it down as a legal expense, and then they indict you and they go to a grand jury, and they don't use Bob Casella's testimony, you know, they use almost none of it. They didn't want him before the grand jury because he's very persuasive. This judge didn't want him to talk. They shouldn't have allowed certain people to testify. It was totally wrong that they did that. So everyone tells me this is the easiest case they've ever seen to overturn, but they don't care because they want to last to the election. Now, the only problem they have is that so far my poll numbers have gone up. You explain this to me because I don't. Pete maybe can explain it. Maybe Will. I don't know. Maybe Will can. They're smart in Texas, right? But the poll numbers have gone up substantially. I don't know if that's going to remain that way.
It's just so crazy.
You changed your tone at some point during the trial. I would say maybe a bit more hopeful in the beginning, and then towards the end you said something to the effect of even Mother Teresa couldn't be acquitted in this venue. Was there a moment in the trial that you felt like it turned, or you saw that it was headed in a certain direction?
Well, when you object to something, your lawyers object, good lawyers, professional lawyers, good records, nice people. You know, I've had a lot of lawyers that weren't nice, and sometimes you're better off that way. These are really fine people. They'd object. Not accepted. When the government, meaning the DA, Bragg, when he said something, all right, good, that's fine. Go on, more. But the main thing is this, that this was turned down by the Southern District. This is over years. This could have been brought 7 years ago. You know, they tried to rush it because they wanted it before the election. But this could have been brought 7 years ago. But they didn't have any intention. A case like this has never been brought before. And there's never been a case where a state has.
If it's worth showing off, it's worth protecting. Add tech coverage to your USAA renter's insurance and help protect your electronics from accidents, spills, and more. Help protect your tech for less. Get a quote today.
You know you're ready to chase down passions and push some boundaries. So make tracks to where the country's largest
has gone after a federal election. In other words, that's for federal. That's for like the Southern District to go. Southern District turned it down.
I didn't realize that.
We got clearance from the FEC, Federal Election Commission. Clearance. They're suing, saying we violated a thing, but they gave us clearance. But the charge was written, I mean, it was like a weird charge. You'd have a little of this, a little of that, do a little of this, throw a little, mix it up.
You'd set the arraignment date for 4 days before the RNC.
Yeah, well, that's part of the game.
It is. Some have suggested you could appeal straight to the Supreme Court because of the special nature of this case. When it comes to the legal maze that you're still facing, and they could, the judge could decide to say, hey, house arrest or even jail.
It could.
Face what that could.
I'm okay with it. I saw one of my lawyers the other day on television saying, oh, no, you don't want to do that to the president. I said, you don't beg for anything. You just, the way it is. Think of it. I have all my books. You know, they went to, for 5 years, they sued me getting my tax returns. At the end of 5 years, they got them. The Supreme Court actually gave it to them. That was the end of it. That was it. They never found anything. They hired the best accounting firms. I had a pure gold firm. They call it a gold-rated firm. I don't know, it's supposed to be. Who knows? But with all that talk, for years you heard about my tax.
They never looked into the Clinton Foundation.
And they never found it. They never went all the way with the Clinton Foundation. They never went all the way with the Clinton Foundation, which is sort of interesting, isn't it? But so that could happen. I don't know that the public would stand it. You know, I'm not sure the public would stand for it. With a
house arrest or
I think it would be tough for the public to take. You know, at a certain point, there's a breaking point.
People ask you, why do you do this? How can you do this? I mean, not to mention the rally after rally, the energy. But maybe the question isn't how do you do this over and over, but how does your family do this? All the obstacles, these are things you care about. Your ambitions for the country. What about everybody around you?
So I think in many ways it's tougher on them than it is on me. They're good people, all of them, everyone. I have a wonderful wife who has to listen to this stuff all the time. They do that for this reason. They do that, all these salacious names that they put in of these people. And I'm not even allowed to defend myself because of a gag order. Think of it. But they put this stuff in to create havoc. These are bad people. I know everything they're doing. I know every move they make. I get it. But a lot of people don't. But it's tougher. I think it's probably, in many ways, it's tougher on my family than it is on me. You know,
how's Melania doing?
She's fine, but I think it's very hard for her. I mean, she's fine. But it's, she has to read all this crap.
What about Barron? People started to focus on Barron recently.
He's amazing, actually, in a certain way. He's tall, good-looking guy. He's a very good student. And he's applied to colleges and gets into everywhere he goes. He's very sought after from the standpoint. He's a very smart guy. He's a very tall guy, but he's a great kid. He's cool. He's pretty cool. I'll tell you. It's very interesting. The colleges, 6 months ago, you look at a college and you sort of want a certain college, and then you see all of these colleges are rioting.
Yeah.
And maybe you want to go to a different kind of a college because there's plenty of colleges that we also like that are different and they don't riot.
That's the first part of our interview with former President Donald Trump. We'll be playing it throughout the morning. Again, it was an hour-and-a-half interview. That's a 10-minute chunk.
All right, guys. I'm gonna try and find the rest of the interview, but he's really been saying that. What y'all think so far? Let me know. Leave a comment, because I'm just recording this because I kind of want to watch it with you guys too. We can interact, but I'll definitely be making a video for this. We're gonna maximize this content, guys. We're gonna use it on the live. Then we're gonna drop the video for it. All right. We'll go to my backup channel, Politics for Blacks. I'm gonna drop it in the chat. All right, y'all. Let me try to find this real quick. Give me a second. Okay, we are back. I have found the clip. Let's get right into it. Play, boys, and play, girls.
That just came through. A lot of Democrats have expressed concern that if you're elected, you're going to want revenge. And some of your supporters have said, well, mutually, we're just talking about the weaponization of the justice system against political opponents. Some of your supporters have said, well, the only way to stop this is mutually assured destruction, right? If you do it to us, we're going to do it to you. You've said, no, my revenge is going to be success for America. You've just had this verdict. Do you still feel the same? What's your thoughts on that?
It's a really tough question in one way, because these are bad people. These people are sick, and they do things that are so destructive. I mean, look what they did.
He's literally talking about Americans, and you want to work for these Americans, because that's essentially what you do as president. You work for the people, but you think half of these people are sick. So what kind of work are you going to do for those people?
From the day I got there, and I don't know, a lot of people said we have no choice but to elect Trump. Republicans, because he's the only one that can withstand this. Don't forget, if it weren't me, they'd be going after somebody else. And I know a lot of the competition, they wouldn't do so well. They wouldn't be doing so well right now. They'd be saying, Mommy, take me home. I want to go home. This is brutal. But these are sick people. And for instance, the 51 intelligence agents, who thinks of these? And they think about it just like they say, I'm guilty of, and all this information was from so many years before the election. It's before the election. So
that's a great point, because so you're talking about the intel agencies. Obviously, remember what Chuck Schumer said? He said, if you tick off the intel agencies, they'll find a way to get you 6 ways Sunday. If you're elected, are you going to reform the intel community? What exactly are you going to do to make sure they don't target Americans like this?
Well, first of all, if you remember, when I took over, we had a guy named Comey. He was there. I didn't put him there. I didn't want him there. I thought he was terrible, actually. And he tried to get me, and I reversed it. Or, some people said he cost Hillary the election, and he didn't want to. But he was a bad guy, not a capable guy, an evil guy. They were doing things that, I won't mention here because it's so conspiratorial. I don't want to be conspiratorial. It's too nice a show. But bad guy. I fired him. Then I fired Strzok, Page, and this one and that. Well, I got rid of that whole group of people. And we were doing great. Look, it's a very interesting question. And I say it and it sounds beautiful, right? My revenge will be success. And I mean that. But it's awfully hard when you see what they've done. These people are so evil. And at the same time, the country can come together. I'm saying this, but the country can come together. During my term, prior to COVID, we had the most successful country we've ever had.
I want to follow up on what Rachel asked you, though, because I hear you struggling with it. I hear you say it's a tough question, a bit unsure. You famously said,
Wait a minute. COVID killed presidents. Period. It killed it. And you didn't respond to it adequately. That's what killed your president. Your response. Not the virus, but your response to the virus.
Regarding Hillary Clinton, lock her up. You declined to do that as president.
I beat her. It's easier when you win. And they all said lock her up. And I felt, and I could have done it, but I felt it would have been a terrible thing. And then this happened to me.
And then this happened to me.
So I may feel that differently about it. I can't tell you. I'm not sure I can answer the question.
Beta.
Hillary Clinton, I didn't say lock her up, but the people would all say lock her up, lock her up. Okay. Then we won. And I said pretty openly, I say, all right, come on, just relax. Let's go. We got to make our country great.
Yeah.
And it would have been, think of it. You lock up the wife of a president of the United
But they
States.
want to lock you up over $130,000 of an accounting thing. And she
a perfectly stated accounting thing. But, people also say, can you bring the country together?
I don't think he's going to be locked up over the hush money. He might be house arrest, maybe. Just maybe. But what he should be locked up for is taking them documents. He definitely should. Definitely. He should be barred from even trying to hold any type of office. Any type of office.
Together, and the answer is yes. Success will bring the country together because I had it together. Before the China virus came in, I had it together. We really had it together. And it would have stayed. I think it would have stayed. Everybody was doing better. The country was doing better than it had ever done. And we're going back to those same policies and then some.
Americans have lost a lot of trust in institutions. And I think there's been a lot of discussion, especially online and especially with young people. How do we rebuild that trust in institutions? The CIA, the FBI, all those institutions.
You're right.
Some people think that one way to build trust is to declassify things that everyone's talking about. I know you talked earlier about, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist. So if you were president, would you declassify, you can answer yes or no to these. Yeah. Would you declassify the 9/11 files?
Yeah.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah. I did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
Attorney General, we talked about how you fix the DOJ, how you bring justice back to this country. When we talk to people, people's faith in the system is shattered. Yeah. Absolutely shattered. We've seen it in your fundraising efforts. So who do you choose? What kind of, do you have a name that top on your list?
I do have a couple, and one in particular, but I made a lot of good choices. I got that one wrong. I was very loyal to one because he was the first senator to endorse me. As soon as conflict came up, he ran for the hills. And actually, the second one, he ran for the hills. And when he heard that he was going to be impeached, they were going to impeach him. And he was like a different person. I had to get rid of him. And I would say that was the one thing. One of the truly important positions is Attorney General. And I was very disappointed at both of those Attorney Generals. Jeff Sessions
He picked these Attorney Generals. He should be disappointed in himself. Is that what he's saying ultimately, that he's disappointed in himself? I hope that is the case. I truly hope that is some humility from Trump, but I doubt
I don't blame myself too much. He was some position in Alabama, and he wanted to be so bad. And he was the first senator to endorse me. And again, I was sort of a civilian. I didn't have a lot of people. I didn't know that many senators. And he went to a rally in Mobile. The fact is that we had 72,000 people, so it wasn't that big a shot. But he came to me and he said, I'd love to be Attorney General. And I didn't see it. And then he came 3-4 times, and I said, just out of loyalty, I did it. And he ran for the hills because it's nasty. This is a nasty business. This is a nasty world.
Yeah, how do you find
and Barr? I know Barr was threatened. In all fairness to him, he didn't want to. He was Attorney General. He was a respected guy, and they said they were going to impeach him. I understand that. I said I got impeached twice, and my numbers went up, which is unusual. I said, it's not so bad to be impeached. What are they going to impeach you? He had no idea what they were going to impeach, but he was going to be impeached. They didn't know what. They didn't know.
Wait a minute. Do you hear this? That getting impeached is not so bad because he's been impeached twice. America doesn't care about America. We keep hearing it. I keep hearing it, but I don't think y'all hear it.
Didn't know why. It's like.
Okay, Fred, time to find our perfect apartment on Zillow. Don't worry, change will be good. Nice.
It's like they took me to trial. There's no crime. They were trying to devise the crime during the trial. That's how bad it was. But with Barr, and he let me down. He let down. He let down our country. He endorsed me the other day, as you saw, right? But he let down our country. It takes a brave person to do it. People don't want to be impeached. They don't want to be indicted by these scoundrels who are much more evil than people. I'm telling you, China and Russia, they're not the problem. We have a problem from within that's really bad. So he let us down.
He literally is talking about himself. The problem from within is you. You causing all this dissension. If you would kind of just go away, Americans could kind of take a side relief, look at the damage and assess, and then pick up the pieces and rebuild. But you won't let us. You keep holding on to this sliver of power that you have with your base. And I understand. But why not just go to Oregon or North Dakota and Wyoming and really form the Trump nation and have it grow out? You could take over the whole country, right?
The key to really good government, where we had like Lighthizer and some of these people that were really good, it's the person that's at the top. If you get the right person, it's like magic. It's like in real estate, you put a good super in a building, the building runs well. You put a bad one in, it's the same thing at a little bit slightly larger scale. But we had great people. I rebuilt the military. We did things that were amazing. One of the things that the people that watch your show should know, we defeated ISIS quickly. I was told it would take 5 years. I did it in a matter of weeks, right? Fast. And they did it fantastically. And I got to know the real fighting generals. There's not woke in the military. There's woke at the top. They want there to be woke, but these guys aren't meant for woke.
Are you going to fire those generals? The woke generals at the top? Because you've been talking
Yes, I would get rid of them, yeah. But see, now I know them. I didn't know them before. I came in. What do I know? I was a New York real estate person, but no, I'd fire them.
Yeah, you don't know anything.
I would fire them. You can't have woke military. You said it's so great. You need people that want to win. They want to win wars. That's what their purpose is, to win wars, not to be woke. But we do have great military. You look at what we did. Look at I was the only one in 78 years or something. I didn't start any wars. I finished wars. I got out of Syria. I took our soldiers home. I would have moved a lot of them out of Germany. I was going to move them out of Germany. Not all of them, but I would have moved. We have 45,000. So that's like, what we do by doing that, we're giving Germany this massive shot in the arm, and then they don't treat us well on trade. But we have a great military, and there's nothing woke about it other than those top guys. I used to watch Milley sit there in Congress and talk about, he's trying to understand this and that mind. I won't get into it, but certain minds, I say, is this guy crazy? But it's one of those things. I've gotten to know a lot of the generals because of the things we did. And we had some unbelievable wins, as you know. We had some wins with terrorists, the two biggest terrorists in the world ever. I took out, So we had we have some great things planned. It's very important, the people that run the agencies, if you get the good ones, and I think I have great ones slated, but if you get the good ones, it's like magic. And we had mostly good ones. You think more about the bad ones. We had some bad ones too.
There's so much in there. I mean, when I'm rewatching it from having been there yesterday, he's just so honest. And I think that is.
It's scary, man, how maybe they have to know he's full of bull. And they're just going along with it. So sometimes I almost think they're worse than Trump, because Trump believes in what he's doing. I truly believe that he believes that he's going to save this country. And these people know that he can't, because our government doesn't work like that. There's 3 branches of government for a specific reason. And I hope MAGA doesn't refresh course on civics, so you can see. But I'm going to try and find the last little piece. We're going to be right back. Man, this is daunting. So I'm tired. How much more MAGA I can take? Y'all should be liking and subscribing. You see what I got to deal with? See that? No, I'm just messing with y'all. Thank y'all so much for joining us. We'll try and find this next piece real quick. Welcome back. I have finally found the third one. Hopefully this is I said hopefully this is the last one. Y'all like this one? Nonsense with the sound system. That jazz. Okay. Right. Welcome back. Thank you. If you're still here, thank you so much. I know this has been a long and daunting process for you. Because trust me, I had to do it. But before we get started on this segment, I wanted to talk about this. I brought it up a little. Hopefully, I've shown it in the live stream, but we're gonna be dropping the videos. But they're talking about oil, of course, naturally, and it says United States produces more crude oil than any other country ever. Average annual crude oil in states. Then state production 3 times. And it's got America at 13 and Russia at 12. But it's basically saying that for the first year that would be Saudi Arabia and Russia producing crude oil. Kind of state production. Kind of state production. What is kind of state production? What is kind of state production? Let's see that. Kind of. Light liquid and hydrocarbons recovered from these separated or field facilities that associated or non-associated natural gas wells most contains and heavier hydrocarbons normally enter the crude oil stream after production. Condensate. Okay, we learning something new. Okay, but I guess we produce more than anybody. So okay, boom. Let's get to this Trump. Oh, what happened? Yeah, I'm sorry. We missed too many buttons. I've been pressing too many buttons, and I'm getting it together. We outside, we outside. It's different from being inside. It's a nice day. Birds are cracking. Air conditioning is blowing. Time to get it go. Let's go. That all said that too. We got the music. The fair use. You can't do it.
Cut one federal department. Take a look.
Let's talk about vice president. Pete and I have gone off the wall. We've talked about historically, presidents pick vice presidents based upon what states they can deliver. We've talked about the fact that you're looking for, it seems to be that you might be looking for a fighter. Let's just ask you directly. What are you looking for in a vice president?
So you always have to say, and I mean it, is if something should happen to the president, you have to get somebody who can be the president, okay? And I think you have to say. And then the second thing, I want somebody that can selfishly help me to get elected. But typically, if you look over the years, look back 100 years, it's almost never that a vice president helps. I mean, you're out there all by yourself. You really are. There's a day or two of, hoopla, you picked a vice president, and then it goes back. But it's almost never helped. Actually, the one person that helped, I guess you could say, is Lyndon Johnson, because he was a real political animal. And he sort of helped a little bit politically with Daley, et cetera, I guess. But, that's a theory anyway. But typically, a vice president doesn't help. So I would say somebody that...
Okay. What the hell? What? Oh, so it must be some more.
You can get along with, somebody that can help you get elected, somebody that can be, and first is somebody that can be a very good president.
Debate's coming up on June 27th. How do you prepare for that? And you've stated it. Joe Biden's in a different place. What's your strategy coming into it?
So Debates are interesting because I had never debated before, and then I debated a lot on the first, in 2016, I had like 14 debates or something. And it's been good. I mean, it's been good for me. It's been worked. I think I won every debate. But I never had, it was very interesting. In 2016, I said, who are these people I'm debating? Half of them I never heard of because, they're governors from someplace or they're senators.
What? What are you talking about? Okay, I gotta sit up and listen to this. What the?
I said, start with Ted Cruz. And they said, well, he's the national debate champion. He's the this, he's the that. And I said, that's not good news. That's not good. I mean, I could have done with a little bit less. Maybe I should have started with somebody else. But they were all, they're talented politicians. That's what, for the most part, they're politicians. Very interesting. In running for president, 92% were politicians and 8% were generals. Not admirals, right? Generals. And that's it. So when, all of a sudden I'm going in as a business guy and different kind of a guy. But we had great 4 years. We were very successful,
How does this help him determine who he's going to pick or who is qualified to be his vice president? 92% of people who ran in the general election were politicians and 8% general. And then you see how the Fox people look at
the largest tax cuts in history. We had the largest regulation cuts in history. We had the best economy in history. We rebuilt our military. We had no wars. I defeated ISIS.
But since you've been out of office, things have deteriorated. And we've talked a little bit about that.
At a level that's not even believable.
And I think most people agree with you on that.
The amount of money which turns the economy. We're $34 trillion in debt. We've printed money we don't have, which led to massive inflation. How do you change?
Donald Trump left office with 28 trillion debt up. And he caused 1/4 of it. He had like between $7 and $8 trillion under his 4 years. But they want him back because he can fix the economy. I can come up with that.
You change that and turn that around to average Americans out there who are struggling every single day, worse and worse under Joe Biden's economy.
So we were doing great. We were energy independent. We were soon going to be energy dominant. I didn't want the Russian pipeline to be built because of the fact, very simple, I wanted to supply them with the energy. The whole thing was we're going to make a fortune. We have more liquid gold than any country in the world, including Saudi Arabia and then I do Anwar in Alaska, which is the biggest find. It's as big as Saudi Arabia. Some people say it's bigger. And Biden closes it up in his first week. The first Department of Interior, the person in charge, closed it in her first day in office. Ronald Reagan tried to get it. He couldn't get it. Everybody tried to get it. Bush, I got it. And they closed it up, but I'm going to reinstitute it very quickly. It'll happen very fast. But think of it. So we were rocking and rolling. We were energy independent. We were soon going to be double the size. We were in third place and even beyond that when I took over. We were leading.
Remember the stat that I showed you guys last year? We produced more oils than India, between 12 million and 13 million barrels of oil a day.
You have to see a graph. Russia, Saudi Arabia above them, Russia second, we're third, and then we go like this. We were going to be energy dominant. We were doing things. The way you have to solve it is through growth. And
but
we were
also
going to have
cutting,
to
right, Mr. President?
Yes, growth and cutting. The problem I had is we were starting to really rock and roll. We had the greatest economy ever, and then we got hit with COVID. And if I didn't throw money at COVID, we would have had a depression like in.
It's funny. You bringing up COVID. I think if he would have handled COVID better, this is my point, he would have won the election. Okay, bear with me for a second. We're going to get right back to him because I'm supposed to be doing some commentary about this interview. I think if he would have said when it was like, let's say late February, early March when it kind of started hitting, we're going to shut down the country for 3 months and we're going to get back to open it up. I would maybe even say it. July the 4th, we're going to reopen up the greatest country ever. We're going to get this nation back on the road. We're going to take, because the viruses, we don't know what's going on, so we're just going to take at least 90 days. We're going to check it up, but then at least to the 4th. Everybody some money, man. He would have won the election. He would have won the election. But see, then he almost makes it seem like he did this so that the Congress sitting in there, you know, they work together. You know, they make the law. He just signs it into law. Okay, guys? That's how it works. 3 branches. And then tell me in the chat. Let me give you a second. What is the 3rd branch? And what is it, guys? Come on. Pop quiz. What is the 3rd branch of government here? What's the number? All right, hopefully you will answer in the chat. I'm sorry. I'm recording, so you be in there now. I'm sure somebody says in the chat.
In 1929. And if I don't win, you're going to have a depression like in 1929. We were leading. You have to see a graph. Russia, Saudi Arabia above them, Russia second, we're third, and then we go like this. I mean, we were going to be energy dominant. We were doing things. The way you have to solve it is through growth.
And we were going to cutting, right, Mr. President?
Yes, growth and cutting. The problem I had is we were starting to really rock and roll. We had the greatest economy ever, and then we got hit with COVID. And if I didn't throw money at COVID, we would have had a depression like in 1929. And if I don't win, you're going to have a depression like in 1929. You know, one of the, I'll just say, Scott.
You remember what I was just saying about the branches of government, the 3 branches. Without, I don't even want to say without a unified Congress or Senate. If they don't dominate one of them, he's really not going to get anything. If we go on the stats of how Democrats and Republicans have been winning and losing since he's been in office, Republicans have pretty much lost. He's the only kind of one of them. Y'all been getting little victories, but for the majority, it's been the Democrats been winning in these small races. So that's not going to be good if a Democratic House and Senate are in, he's really not going to be able to do nothing. So you got to factor that in too. But let's continue.
One of the greatest analysts on Wall Street, considered maybe the best, he said the only reason the stock market's high is because they think Trump is going to win.
Listen, I think that one of your strongest points is that you're a businessman and people love that you ran this country like a business. And I believe that if you got in office, you will get the oil pipes going again, we'll get energy going, and I believe that we will grow. But it's really hard when you're a politician to cut. Your friend Milei in Argentina, he cut whole agencies, and now they went from
Trump's businesses. When they just charged with something about his businesses from fraudulent, man, let's not even talk about that. What about Trump Casino, Trump Airline, Trump Water, Trump Steak, Trump Tide, Trump University, like a business.
25% growth per month in inflation down to 8% per month. So it works. Are you willing to
know he's MAGA. You know that.
I know he is. He's my friend. That's why I brought it up.
No, he's my biggest fan.
He's a great
Make
guy.
Argentina great again. It works out perfectly, right? No, that's what he calls it. He says he has hats, make Argentina great again.
But he has, but he's cut agencies. Are you willing to make those kinds of dramatic cuts? Because I really think we have young kids, all of us. I think their futures are on the line. I mean, as he said, $34 trillion in debt. I think that means we're paying almost $1 trillion in interest.
I'll give you an example.
Is it every month?
I'll give you. You mentioned
every year.
You mentioned the kids. So we're going to cut the Department of Education, let it be run locally. We have this
end
mess.
the Department of Education?
End it, other than to have a little tiny coordination. You know, it would be nice to make sure that everybody's teaching English.
Yeah.
Did y'all what he said? They're not to cut the Department of Education. I think who said something earlier about this person. Department of Education. tired with that. You want to keep bagging up? I understand. I understand why you want to. You want to keep y'all up.
Yeah.
Let them learn English, okay?
I love this.
Nice to meet you. We're going to cut the Department of Education, let it be run locally. We have this
end the
mess.
Department of Education?
End
Federal
it,
Department of
other
Education?
than to have a little tiny coordination. It would be nice to make sure that everybody's
Small.
teaching English.
Yeah.
Let them learn English, okay?
I love this.
But no, we're cutting the Department of
love it.
Education. I was ready to do it before. And then again, the COVID really, if we didn't throw money at that, you would have had a depression. We would have been in a depression. And when I got out, the stock market was higher than when just before COVID came in.
So that will be the first thing. That will be the first department.
Oh, it's going to happen. That's
cut.
going to happen immediately.
I love it.
We're going to do like Department of Interior. There's so many things you can do. One of the things that's so bad for us is the environmental agencies. They make it impossible to do anything. And so in Louisiana, they had these massive refineries, that LNG plants, but massive, essentially refineries. 14, 15 years they've been trying to get permits. I got it done in one day. One day I got the permit. Don't tell anybody, please. I got it. I didn't know who the hell was doing it. In one case, Japan was putting, and by the way, they're like $20 billion, a massive. These are like the Empire State Building laid down ×2 on its side. All pipes, I mean, it's unbelievable, on the coast in Louisiana. And I got those things, the first one I got done in like 24 hours. They worked on it for 14 years. And it was terrible. I mean, what they were doing. The environmental agencies have stopped doing, they stop you from doing business in this country.
Oh my God. Wow. I'm pretty sure that's Research isn't done yet. Give me a second. I'm gonna check and see. That might be 27. That might be it. But I'm a search driver looking at the map. We're gonna hit the live. But